Hey, all you small business geniuses. This morning I was listening to a podcast by Joe Rogan, and he had a guest on called Sadhguru. Sadhguru made us think about the idea of a screw. And there's this tiny little screw in your desk. It seems very insignificant, but if we were to try to take that out, it would be almost impossible, using our nails, using our fingers, using our teeth, using whatever we could. It'd be almost impossible to take that screw out. What we humans are really good at is coming up with tools that allow us to deal with a situation like that. We need to remove a screw. Now we have a screwdriver and we can take it out so easily. So look at the difference between how unable we are to do something as opposed to how hyper able we are with our tools to do something. Our tools are really, really significant in being able to perform a task. So I started to think about that in the financial realm because that's kind of what I do. And I started thinking about the whole idea of how these financial devices or financial concepts are actually tools that we use to actually do something that we need to do with our financial situation. And when I thought about that, I also thought about the fact that you need to be very specific with the tools. In our financial world, we are dealing with very specific problems that we're dealing with. Whereas it's the same thing actually with tools in general. If I were to give you a wrench and ask you to try and remove that screw, you would probably have a really hard time removing it with the wrench because the wrench is the wrong tool to use for that situation or for that problem. So I want to break this out a little bit in terms of how it affects us financially. So we'll go back originally to Sadhguru's situation. So with Sadhguru, we'll say that what he really wants is a stable desk. So what's the issue? Oh, well, we have a loose leg. Loose leg. Oh, so what do we really want? We want that tightened. So this is the problem. This is the solution we're looking for. And how are we going to do that? We're going to use this tool, which is the screwdriver, right? Maybe that's one word. So we had that very specific goal of having a stable desk. We had a very specific problem, which is the loose leg. Our solution was to tighten it, and we used a screwdriver as the tool to accomplish that. It could be different. It could be maybe one leg is long. So we have one long leg, and that's made it unstable. Then instead of tightening, what we want to do is maybe shorten that leg. And to shorten that leg, we're probably going to use something like a saw, right? So if we're very specific about what we want to achieve, what the problem is, what the solution is, then we can find exactly what tool we're looking for. Same thing. And it's all about being very specific. Because if we used a saw here, we would have been unsuccessful. If we used a screwdriver here, we also would have been unsuccessful. So when we're figuring out what we need for specific situations, we need to be very specific, again, about what we're trying to achieve, what the problem is, what the solution is, and and then we know exactly what kind of tool we're going to use, right? So the same thing is true with financial situations. And there's a lot of situations that we can go through, and we'll go through that over the next few weeks. But what we want is this kind of methodology that we can figure out, okay, what do we want? What's our goal? And then what is exactly the problem that we're trying to overcome? And then what's the solution? And then we can come up with our specific tool to handle the job. And maybe there are going to be a few different things that we're going to have to achieve here. But in having the transparency in what specifically those problems and solutions are, will help us figure out exactly what tools we need. So maybe we need tool 1 and tool 2 because there are two slightly different problems that we have to handle in order to fix our financial solution or optimize our financial solution. So this is a framework I'm going to be using in the next few videos, and we'll go through and we'll figure out exactly what some of the solutions are, or to our problems, and we'll get an idea exactly what kind of tool we want to use to solve them. We'll talk to you tomorrow.